Welcome back to another episode of the Downsizing Roadmap podcast with your hosts, Jody Rosko and Heather Fisher. We're talking about all things downsizing, from our own experiences with clients to guest experts. Let's make downsizing easier, one conversation at a time. Hey everybody, welcome back to Downsizing Roadmap podcast. We're so excited to be with you today. I'm Jody Rosko.
I'm Heather Fisher.
And today we're going to talk about 10 days to jumpstart your downsizing journey.
Yeah, I think this will be just a quick, short path if you're knowing you need to get started to just, it's not going to get everything done, but give a little taste of a few things to do each day to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, just kind of get yourself moving towards that process and kind of maybe start to get some habits formed.
Yeah,
right?
And very specific, here's what to do. So I think sometimes that's the stopping point for people.
Right.
Like, I hear you, and yes, but
like I'm totally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I need a plan. So here's a 10-day plan to just do a little bit every day in different areas.
Yeah. Step-by-step instructions on a few things that'll really help you get started. So we can dive in and go day by day and get through 10 days and
build some momentum
and
doesn't have to be perfect.
Save this episode and listen each
over
day.
And over
well, yeah, and listen each day and get all 10 days done. So we'll go through it all, and then hopefully tomorrow we have lots of people starting
Get
day
some
one.
motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think motivation is the perfect word to start. Let's look at day one. And it's what we always say to start with. Start with your big why and your motivation and, what you are looking for. So day one, title of the day, get clear on your why.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times when people start thinking about downsizing, it's because something in their life isn't working. And they might not even really be able to put their finger on it, or they might know exactly what the problem is, right? It might be, oh, this just feels like it's overwhelming and too much, or it might be like, hey, I can't get up those stairs anymore. So, sometimes it's very clear what that is, and sometimes it's really not clear what that is. But no matter what, I think we need to really look towards the future and see what that can look like and get excited about the future. Because I think that's a step people miss a lot about what their mindset is, and it really, really, really helps you when you are, sorting through all your stuff and you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. And I think even if that why is a little further down the road, when you have that plan, you know what you're doing it for, and, it's okay if it's not the right now, but you're going to be enjoying the space you're in if you do some of this stuff.
For sure. Yeah, you can, right. Even you might already be overwhelmed by the stuff that's around you and how heavy that feels. And even if you just lighten that load and then you know where you're going next.
Absolutely.
You don't have to actually do it all. But, what is that going to look like? Is that being closer to your family? Is that, not mowing the lawn? Not taking care of the big house? Is it travel? What is it that is going to be super exciting for you to motivate you through this next 10 days and then beyond to really when you get where you want to go?
Yeah, and I think like we're talking about get out a piece of paper and a pencil. I mean, day one activity, write a list. What would you be looking for in your next place if it's not where you are now? Is it just a ranch home? Is it no stairs? Is it, you need people, meaning staff of various
do you need extra help?
Abilities for that extra help? What social things would you love to have? What location? And I think it's when the same thing when someone's looking for their next home at any level, don't talk yourself out of the things that you want at this point. Right now we're being dreamy. So make that list as long as it is. And then, we're going down and finding a place. You have to weed down and what are the top ones be nice. You might not find everything, but I think our buyers in real estate are often surprised as to how many is they can check off when they put paper and start specifically for that. So
Right. Yep. Write down the reasons why, and then a bit more about where you want.
yeah, absolutely. I think that that's a great way to do it. And, don't just think in your head, write it on paper, get specific, get me, and
Use
a
it
list.
as you're along. Go post that up and be like,
Fridge,
yeah,
put it.
this is emotional. Do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's
Day-
a pretty relaxing way to spend your afternoon. I haven't even put anybody to work yet.
Right. Reading.
Yeah.
Thinking is maybe a little bit hard to in a different thinking. But that it's not. We're not heavy.
Yeah.
Maybe emotions.
Well, that's always part of us, but we'll get to it and start day one, this 10 days to get Jumpstart. Start with and getting clear on what it is, why you're thinking about downsizing, and what perfect next step would look like so that you can move towards it.
Okay, so day 2. We've why we're doing it, and we're going to be getting what all the pros are. One zone, just one small area that's not emotional. Don't pick, something easy or closet.
Zone sounds like a big word. One small closet, one desktop thing, and let yourself wander a big list.
That's been bugging you.
Yeah.
Is it can't get your clothes in your closet? Is it that junk doesn't open hardly anymore because you crammed so many coupons? Like, what's happening?
Yeah,
That's really irritating you. And this really is getting your momentum. So don't put, okay, now I'm going to clean out my home for 8 hours because that will stop. So do something that's little that you can accomplish, and you can feel really good about the end of day 2 and feel like, okay.
Yeah, you said pick bugging you the most. Get that momentum by doing something that will change your day in a small way. I think it's time to revisit my bathroom, disorganized that I could definitely clean out. But every day I'm in there to get ready for the day. So
digging through the stuff that you used to use, but now you didn't like that. Now you're going to use the new stuff, but then you didn't throw away the old stuff.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So we're talking picking something that is something you come across every day, has gotten a little out of control, and just show yourself how easy it is to do one space at a time. And like Jody said, don't pick heirlooms and photos and paperwork. Probably don't even pick the desk if that's where your paperwork is. That's a little tougher. Pick something super simple. Other ideas of those simple places, Jody?
I think, you could pick an area of the garage. Maybe it's hard to open your car door out into some, if you've got a lot of stuff packed in the garage. Not the whole garage, just a small section. You could pick the coat closet, some area where you either you use it every day, like you said, and it's annoying you, or you don't ever use it, so it's easy to let go of some of those things.
Yeah. And also, as we said, if that goes really well and it just takes a short amount of time in your day, stop. Even though, don't barrel forward and be like, that was easy, I'll do 3 more.
Because when you stop the first time, you've got that momentum and you're like excited and you're like, oh my gosh, I have that accomplishment. I finished it. But if you keep going, then you'll be exhausted by it after that day, and you won't have as much momentum.
Yeah, so learn that confidence in yourself that you can do a little bit each day without getting burnout, and just starting to build that habit. We've talked about that on other episodes, that 10-minute challenge to do 10 minutes every day, or to do 100, quick 100, and those different challenges. That's what this is, something small and manageable, and checking that box and then moving on with your day
Because
And-
you want it to be like, oh my gosh, that was so easy. I could do that every day and that wouldn't be a big deal.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's it. So days 1 and 2 done, and
On to 3.
not even tired yet.
Okay, so day 3 is to create your sorting system. So you're going to set up some basic downsizing zones where you're going to have things that you keep, things that you donate, things that are trash, things that you might want to sell, and then maybe a maybe box, right? An unsure thing. And the unsure thing is really, I think a lot of the problem is that we delay our decisions and we procrastinate deciding what to do with things.
Yeah.
And so don't make everything in the unsure box.
Yeah.
Really try to be brutally honest with yourself about what you're using and what you're not using. We've talked a lot about the 80-20 rule and that we really only use 20% of the things in our house. And so you should be able to let go of things in an area where you're working that you
Yeah.
aren't actually using. So be honest about them. And so create those zones. Keep, donate, trash, sell, and then a maybe box. And so what goes into each pile?
Yeah. So, I mean, keep, my suggestions would be, if it's a keep, then by the end of that project, room, drawer, whatever, that's what's back in there. And so that is a pile while you're sorting, but by the end of the day, when you're finishing up, that is back in your home. It's there for use, and you're done with that area. And then the donate pile, if at all possible, if your space allows, if you have a room that can be a room or a spot where the donate box can live and the maybe box can live while you're doing this, try, by the end of the day, you don't want to have every room end up with piles in the corner. Then you'll be frustrated and it will be harder to go back and address them. So move stuff straight to, the maybe little area, and we'll talk about that a little further, a bit later on how to get through and make those decisions on that. And that donate box, keep it close while you're going through something, and then, move it closer to the car, move it closer to, the garage if you're having a pickup done, but move it out of the spaces so that as you accomplish each task or each area, you're getting them back to being your living spaces with less and not living among all 4 of these piles. Trash, if, make it a pile or a bin while you're working, and then get that out to your trash receptacle and get that out each week when the trash pickup is. Don't keep it piled in corners as, oh, well, I'm not done with the whole house yet.
Because
Try to
once
move
you
that.
clear the space, it just starts to feel so much better, and it feels like you have accomplished something.
Yeah.
So if all you've done is made piles and then you don't do anything with the piles, that's a problem, because now you feel like it's almost messier than it was before you started.
Yeah. And then you're like, do I move on to something else? Do I have to clean up this mess? And you start shoving the
Yeah.
things that you've already sorted back into, oh, someone's coming for dinner. I
Right.
got to shove all this back in a closet and all of that. So try to work in a way where you're moving those piles appropriately, either back into the house for the keep or into donate or trash and out of the house, as you can get them to where they need to go, and not letting that maybe pile grow too big. I think there's ways with that maybe pile, you can define it's going to be, I'm not going to let myself have more than this one large box, or I'm not going to let myself have more than these 2 shelves in the garage. Whatever that looks like, if you're putting some parameters, you find yourself wanting to put something else in that maybe pile and it's already full, what are you going to make a decision on?
So there's a couple things about what we were talking about before. If it's the 10-minute, or just a quick one thing, one area, one small area, decision fatigue is a real thing. And so if you find yourself putting everything in the maybe box or not being able to make decisions about it, then it's time to stop for the day. So that's number 1. But the maybe box, really what it should be is things that you are pretty sure you don't want anymore. but you still have in that your little nagging and going, what if I'm going to use this? You know, what if I, and the idea of the maybe is that you've already made the decision. So if you don't think from that box months, you can donate it without looking again, because the idea really already made the decisions. You seal up the mail and put it wherever the donations are and mark 6 months from now, and it's time for it to donate. Then you don't need to and look at it again, because then you're redeciding. So redecide. You only need the maybe box. Not 6 months, you know specifically something is in that maybe box that you're like, oh my, I need that thing.
Yeah.
Then it's like a holding place for you. Realize is most of the you don't even remember it's in that.
Yeah.
You just
and don't force yourself to all those decisions and by opening it. That's just
the idea is you've made 90%. You just worried about it.
Yeah. Yourself over that cliff.
So label those box bags, you know, to infusion and whatever donate. Trash we're going to just handle day 3.
You're really just setting up that ready in. And I mean, when you go to painting the room doesn't take, but you paint this room today and then you're like, oh, I have to go to the store and buy and I have to tape it all up and I have to, pick out the paint color, and it's 2 hours before you're actually painting. So that's what day 3 is. You're just getting, you have trash bags, you have boxes, them labeled, you've decided where those zones, and you don't have to do anything except set up.
Ready.
Yeah.
Okay, day 4, sentimental. Category low, so sentimental lights. Tackle sentimental.
Just like a little your toes in the water.
Okay.
So we're going to just pick something that is bordering on sentimental, but it's not your hardest.
Sentimental light.
Yeah.
Got it.
We got to dive in a little bit.
So maybe holiday decorations.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or,
I think holiday decorations are a great thing to go through when it's not that season. Mm-hmm. Because you're not putting them out.
Yeah.
I personally think that's a great time to go through the boxes and reduce by the time Christmas comes around again and you unpack. You're not going to remember if you gave stuff away and you're not feeling that, oh, I could just, nudge this little last snowman, out and tuck it here or tuck it there. I think that you maybe have a different mindset when it's not the season of whatever you're going through for holiday.
I agree. So it just kind of has a different look and you kind of bring it out and you're like, oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Or another good time is if it is after the season, right? And so you have your bins or boxes or whatever of your holiday stuff, and you realize there's stuff in there that you haven't put out in a couple years. It just leaves, it's the bottom of the bin stuff that just never ends up coming out.
Yeah.
That stuff needs to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if your space is changing, you're just not going to put
you won't have the space to
out.
put, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So choose something. You're just going to practice letting go of something that has a little bit higher stakes without having it be the highest stake ones.
Yeah, just getting our feet wet and practicing making some decisions. There is a difference. It is harder on the things that define, those sentimental items like holiday decorations or whatever. Those come with the feelings of those things that you celebrate with your family or friends or yourself, and they are harder than your junk drawer and your kitchen, but don't tackle the hardest. This is just day 4, and we just want to tackle one thing. And again, don't bite off more than you can chew for one day. If you have 10 bins of Christmas decor, let's set a goal, I'll do 2 bins today, and then you're done. Define it before you get started so that you can be done, whether that's a time limit, certain number of boxes, a certain area. Always make sure you're defining for yourself when you can be done for the day before you get started and just get fed up.
Yeah. Okay, so sentimental light, we're going to tackle something that is a little bit sentimental, but not something that's going to just totally bog you down.
Yeah.
Day 5, do a home walkthrough. So with a pen and a notebook, walk through your house like you're a buyer or a stager and say, would I move this? Does this room look too cluttered? Real estate agents can always come and do this walkthrough with you too. They're excellent at, if you're, thinking you're going to sell it, somewhere down the road, they're excellent at helping you, tell you if there's too much stuff in the room. But think model home, right? When you're looking through. So if you're looking at it with fresh eyes and going, oh, if I was buying this house, like what would that feel like to me? And it might feel like, oh gosh, that's crowded. I need to get rid of some of this furniture. Know that you can always call for a donation. You don't have to be done when you're going to donate things.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, if I could just get some of this stuff out of the way, it would be easier to work on the other stuff. And you're not going to keep it, call and get a donation pickup for just that certain amount of stuff and just kind of get that out of your way so that you can start to breathe in your space. So,
I think that walkthrough is going to be writing that list for, after this 10 days. We're giving some little tasks and samples on things you can do each day to get in those habits. But that list you make is really going to help as you need to go through your whole house. If you're, again, on paper and pencil, make it so much easier to let it out of your brain and know you have it. And you're just kind of defining the projects that you need to tackle on future days or pieces of those projects instead of that vague, I need to downsize my whole house.
Right. Or I need to fix certain things or whatever.
Yeah.
Make notes of areas that you are going to, as you create that habit of cleaning out, like you can say, oh, let's make a little list of these areas, and then you can check them off day by day in your 10-minute of cleaning.
Yeah.
The other thing is we just live with stuff that we wouldn't, when you go to sell your house, you wouldn't let that be, right? So, for example, Mark had to change the shower head out at our old house on the shower. And so he did that, and then he had to patch the drywall a little bit and sand it. So it was left with this white sanded around our darker walls in the bathroom for 7 years, y'all, 7 years.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't look at it anymore. Like I didn't see it. Like when you are living in a house, you just are like, I'll get to that, or, oh, that's fine, or, oh, whatever. But if you are walking through with fresh eyes, you're like, oh, yeah, that totally needs to be painted.
Yeah. Or
that needs to happen. And then the part that's going to really irritate you is that it will take, 15 or 20 or 30 minutes to do, one of those jobs that has been like that for 7 years, and you've just lived with it. And you didn't even know how irritating it was to you, all those little things, until you get them done. And then you're like, why did I not just do that?
To not have a big white, patch of drywall. And I mean, oh my gosh, I had that in my old house, an area, and when did I get it fixed and painted? Like right before I sold. So
Totally.
I didn't enjoy it for 10 years. I had that
It
spot.
irritated you.
Yes.
I know.
So not only is it, establishing your project list, but it is making that list of, a whole list that you might need just a handyman for that can tackle that. And having it all on one list, honestly, will make it easier to find someone to come out and do all of it at more cost effective if you've these 10 little things that all need handled, and you can get that person out and do all of it and not be paying a trip charge and this and peeling it. Kind of doing that. And if a move on the horizon, on day 5, that is to have us out do that walkthrough.
We can also talk to what might need to be addressed, need to be addressed. Don't start making big changes to the house with somebody about living soon, whether that's your return on or you even need to do that. So.
Yeah, or that of who to call. We do that for
Right.
you. So 5, again, really just walking through, really looking at your house. All of us live in our houses every day. It's time before you really walk through and
that blind, whatever.
the littlest things. So that's, we're going to focus on the flat surfaces. So that would be kitchen countertop, bathroom countertop, desks, tables, side nightstands, all those flat surfaces that differs for people. If yours are, 99% clear of and take the day off, most of us live in a nation of too much knickknacks and decor that could be streamlined and downsized, and just the piles.
Paper often gets especially kitchen tops, your kitchen table, we of houses where you can't put things into the kitchen table to even put your down to talk to somebody or eat. They're just marked like that. It was just like kind of had to shove a little, and that just accumulates and that. And there's other podcasts you need to listen to about paper and how to handle it so we can not put it all over your surfaces. Yeah, a lot of it. I think what happens is, even with shelves and all of that stuff, again, you add and add and you just never. So you look at it, fresh eye, it looks crowded. First put those together. They didn't, because you didn't have stuff, but then you got more things and you put them in there and you put. And same with nightstands. Stuff really can on your nightstands or your bathroom counters. Maybe you have so much stuff, medicines and lotions, and you don't put it underneath or put it away.
Yeah.
And maybe if you cleaned out all the underneath that you don't use, then you could put the one you use away.
Yeah. It's a different mental state going through your day in the house if there's a lot more clean surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
It's just mentally, we've talked about that distraction study.
Yeah.
It just, life will feel easier and lighter and freer, and you'll get more done on other things if those surfaces are not full of mental clutter and distracting things.
Well, and think about how much easier it is to wipe down the counters or wipe down the bathroom sink or clean the kitchen table if there's not all kinds of stuff on it that you're trying to clean around or move around and all of that. So
yeah, absolutely. So day 6, a little bit of work involved, but going through room by room and giving yourself that gratification at the end of the day, it will make a huge impact. Even if the cupboards are full and the closets are full, everything behind closed doors are still full. If you've made an impact on your flat surfaces, it will feel so great at the end of day 6 to go through and have done a sweep and reduced that back to the 80-20 rule. You could probably get rid of 80% of what's there and not miss it, not need it.
Right. So even if you got rid of 30 or 40 or 50% of it, it's going to be great.
Yes. It will also make, let's say, like the next steps of pulling stuff out of a closet or a cupboard or whatever. If you're not pulling it into a room that's cluttered,
right,
it actually gives you that mental space to work and to sort something as you're going through it.
Right. If you're cleaning out your kitchen cabinets and what you need to do one cabinet at a time is take everything out and put it on the counter and look at it and be like, oh, I haven't used that in 10 years. If the counter's already full of stuff, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah. I think in general, we keep so much on our kitchen counters that we use infrequently. Yeah. There's a lot, if you take just a glance around your kitchen. If you're using something daily, then maybe that is the best place for it. But if it's an appliance that you're using once a month, once every 2 weeks for something, try your hardest to find a cupboard to put that in, or think about, do I really need it at all? And can I get rid of it? Because it's hard to cook if there's just appliance after appliance taking up that depth on the counter.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, flat surfaces, clean.
yes,
Okay.
day 6 done.
Day 7, involve a buddy. So invite somebody to help you declutter, just talk to you about the process. It could be your kids. It could be a friend. It could be a downsizing person. It could be
An organizer.
Yeah. Yep. So third parties have different lenses around what's going on. And sometimes that can be very helpful. Your kids, sometimes that can be helpful and sometimes it cannot. It just depends on the kids and your relationship with them. So if your kids are going to be supportive and, that's good, then them. If not, maybe you need a third party friend or organizer that can help you with that.
Yeah, I think we're on day 7 now. So if you have just been like, oh, I am feeling so good, this is awesome, I am ready, what's next, then maybe that is just inviting a friend over to do it with you, or, your adult kids, and that's going great. If you are like, wow, it's day 7 and I'm struggling to do these things each day, and I still don't have an idea where to start, or I'm struggling with the task, then that may be a big hint that a professional is someone that can help you move along, because, all of this, once you're through this 10-day Jumpstart, it's repeating a lot of this. So if it's a struggle, there are resources out there that are great and can give you that perspective and that physical help, and talk through some of the emotions around it as well.
Well, and I think, everything in our house has a story, but not all the stories are important to tell, right?
Yeah.
If I just have, shirts in my closet that I need to get rid of, there's not a lot of things that I need to tell somebody about. But if I'm dealing with things that are a little bit more sentimental or emotional, then sometimes I just need to tell the story around that thing to someone who will listen to that story, and it's easier to let go of that thing once you've told the story around it. And so that's kind of part of what involving a buddy is. They can help you get through the things that are a little bit more emotional, or that you just want to share. You want to share your stories. Photos, if you're doing photos, that's a great time to have somebody else there to talk about the people in the photos and the experiences that you were having and things like that. So some of the stuff, when you go through it, will not be emotional. Some of the stuff will be like, I should have gotten rid of this years ago and I still feel great about it. And some of the stuff is going to be like, oh, this is really hard.
Yeah.
And so that's what the buddy person is there for.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just nice to help the time pass.
Yeah.
And you're just getting, it might be the junk drawer or the kitchen cabinets or whatever. I know you had a friend help you with your kitchen, and it just goes quicker, and you're chatting, you're not necessarily about the stuff. It's just an enjoyable way to spend time with people that you care about. So,
well, and if you get that person, have that person be somebody who's like, honestly, you don't use that, do you? 'Cause don't have that person be like the saver of everything.
I'll take that. If you don't want it anymore, then you're going to be at their house next week doing the same thing.
Yeah. So
as Jerry Seinfeld say, eBay, we're just mailing our trash back and forth to each other. Don't do that with your buddy. Don't pass it back and forth.
Right. So you want somebody who's going to help you with the process and understand the process that you're trying to do.
Yeah. Okay, so day 7, I hope you all had lots of fun with your friends over, because we're diving into day 8. We're back to another harder, a stuck category.
Yeah.
So you'll notice in this little Jumpstart plan, which I think is a good strategy all the way through, when something gets hard, bounce out to something that's a little easier. Or take a day that's a little less involved emotionally or physically. So we've done that a few times. Now we're going to choose one category that we're stuck on. It could be clothing, it could be books, it could be, your family heirlooms, it could be boxes and boxes from somebody else's house that are in your garage or your attic, your basement. Let's talk a little bit about those tips for sorting through those things quickly and make decisions.
Yeah, so I think we have a lot of people who have gotten things from the family and things they don't necessarily want. I'm not even the family wanted them, we had them and felt guilty and because they couldn't make decisions. And so that's a place where you handle a stuck category and just give yourself the power to not have it if you don't want it. You ask your family if they want it. If there's ask though, don't then just as like the next hand down of because right.
Yeah.
So, and then if if you love it and you are displaying it and doing it, great. If it's in a basement or the attic and you just have it because you have it, and it's time to let it go to somebody else who wants family. If that's not family, then you have a lot of resources for on our website, roadmap.com, or if you're in a different area, you find some really great places to donate things.
Yeah, where it can be impactful and meaningful to the recipient.
I guess doing that stuff, it's just, are you use it? Are you going to love it? Questions that you need to be asking yourself. Are you just,
Yeah. And what's it keeping you from? That's a pull out that dreamy list from one is holding all of this, keeping me from things on this list.
Yeah.
Because you honestly, from here to there, going through all of these. And in what way I take a piece of why this category is important to me and honor it small way, my current space or a new space. How can I keep most important legacy from whatever it is that I'm having trouble letting go of? And you have ideas for that on other episodes. Revisit that. There are ways, just like how you use the salad plate, mom's extensive china collection, it all laid out at the house. I mean, every serving bowl and teacup and saucer. But you honor so much by enjoying and loving the salads from that collection every and less to store.
Right. And it still feels the same to me.
Brings back all of the memories of the Christmas you had at your mom's and your grandma's house. So look for ways to do that, to pass those categories, good about them, not feel like those ladies on the podcast told me to throw everything I love.
Right.
No.
Throw away all the love. Yeah. And keep the things you do love.
Keep what you love and honor them so that you're keeping memories that you love and enjoying them instead of dusty boxes. So that's day 8 and almost done. Getting to the end of 10.
Yep.
Day 9 is an important one. So back on, I think, day 2 maybe, or day 3 when we set up those zones. Hopefully you've put things in the trash box and the donation box, and the keep box should be put back into the house every day, and the maybe box, but it's time to make a donation drop. Get it out of the house. So if you haven't started yet and you want to, schedule that 9 days from now, if you're starting tomorrow, schedule that and someone can come pick it up. If not, pack up that car and drive it to wherever you're wanting to donate. Like Jody said, we've got a lot of places that are great, but get it out of the house, move it out of the space before it creeps back in, before it gets pushed further into a corner of the garage and becomes more stuff that you have to go through again in a few years.
Yeah, you don't want it to sit around long enough that you don't remember what it is and then you have to go through it again.
Yeah.
Like it's like one and done. You touched it, it's done, moving on. So back when I was having some garage sales, because Mark thought that was a great idea, and I actually don't love garage sales, but when that was happening, he would make sure that we had boxes so that whatever didn't sell at the garage sale was absolutely not coming back in the house.
Yeah.
And so he would literally like pack it up as soon as the garage sale was done and take it straight to Goodwill or, look whatever donation place that you were, looking at, and it would be out of the house and never come back in the house, because that's an easy thing to do, to rethink it over and over.
Yeah, and I think that's a great spot where people that want to help you through this process, if it's hard for you physically, if it's boxes, if it's a lot, if you've done a great job and there's lots to move out, call in those resources, a friend, a neighbor, your adult kids, and, say, hey, let's have some coffee, and can you help me get all of this to the donation center? And everybody would be thrilled to help with that. You've already made the decisions, and there's help to do that, and it's so freeing once it's moved out of the house and it's done.
Yep, for sure. And then it gives you room to do more work, right?
Yeah.
So
make
the donation drop, or call for it and get a pickup and have them pick up some things and clear it out a little bit. Day 10.
Day 10 is a celebration.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So not a lot of work here, just reflecting on how it went, where your challenges were, where you might need to pull in some outside help, and where, you're confident to continue on that path. And then choosing your next plan, whether that's laying out your next 10 days, whether it's starting back at day 1 and picking other zones to go through, just laying out that weekly habit, that daily habit of what are you going to tackle in what order, and then celebrating that you accomplish things. There's less in your house because you've been to the donation center, a couple cupboards and drawers, and, a couple hard categories are started or all the way finished. So that's awesome. And decide how you're going to celebrate yourself.
Yeah.
Whether that's flowers for your nice clear countertops.
Ice cream.
Some ice cream. That would be my choice. Coffee, just a rest day, and, sit with a good book and look around your nice uncluttered space and celebrate.
Love that.
So that's it. I think we've hit all 10 days.
Perfect.
And, this is just designed to give you that jump start. If you don't know where to start, this will get that ball rolling and get the momentum started. And then you just keep on keeping on. And
no perfect way to do it. Just start. Yeah. And 80% good enough is good enough. Like it doesn't have to be perfect.
Done, not perfect.
Right.
Is what we
exactly.
say.
Done, not perfect. That's right.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, if you guys have questions, if you'd like this list, you can always reach out to us on downsizingroadmap.com and just send us an email and ask for the copy of the 10 days so you can work through it yourselves. And we can't wait to hear how it goes for you.
Share your progress with us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we will be back for another episode next time. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us on the Downsizing Roadmap podcast. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who might need a little downsizing inspiration. Have questions or ideas for future episodes? Visit us on our website, www.downsizingroadmap.com. Until next time, let's keep simplifying and moving forward.